Senator, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Let's talk about aged care first of all. A big and weighty report that has come out. I'm not sure if you've been able to read all of it yet. There is certainly a lot of it there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure many have been able to get through it yet. But do you believe that the system can be rebuilt in 5 years, or is that too ambitious?
Well, yeah, look, there's a lot to work through here. Look, I think that's a timely enough goal. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do. I think anything longer than 5 years, you're on the never, and no one's really focused on fixing things. What we've got to focus on now is fixing things. The report is shocking, but not surprising. We have known for some time of the deficiencies in the system. That's why the government called the Royal Commission. That's why we've invested around $500 million already to fix the program. Another $1.8 billion during COVID to help aged care centres through that experience. And yesterday, of course, another $450 million. But there'll be a lot more to do. The sector does need more resources. The trick will be how to deliver that with both public and perhaps even private contributions.
Okay, well, let's talk about that because, there was the $450 million that was earmarked yesterday. That's a snip on what's needed. You know that. Everyone knows that. So how are you going to pay for it? You talked about it there. Would you support this 1% Medicare-style tax levy?
Look, I think we've just got to work through things here. I'm not supportive of, generally speaking, of new taxes, especially as we try and get out of COVID. But obviously the needs here are great. And we already have a situation where our budget is in significant deficit and we're going towards $1 trillion in debt. So we're going to have to work out a way to pay for this in the system. Talking my own conversations with aged care providers for the last couple of years, I think pretty firmly indicates that there just isn't enough resources in the sector. The people who work in the sector are hardworking, they give a lot, but there just needs to be more resources. So we're going to have to look at things like that, but I think the day after a huge report, let's just work through it and make decisions in the light of day.
There is concerns, and Ian Henschke shared these concerns earlier about the 1% levy, is that money could well be swallowed up in administrative costs by various providers. Would you share those concerns?
Well, I think that's a fair point. That the more important probably point here is to fix the incentives and institutions in the sector than rather just throw dollars at it. We've seen in other sectors where we just throw money at things. It doesn't necessarily lead to better results. The education system is a case in point there, where we're spending a lot more on schools, but not getting improved school test results, at least from children. So we've got to make sure the incentives are right, the institutions are right. We've got to empower the individuals. That's the way these things work best, that the families and older people in the system need to have a voice and need to have a say to demand better services, to be able to perhaps choose where they can. Those sort of things we need to get right as well, rather than just the money or what revenue stream funds it.
But surely aged care has to be prioritised amongst a few other things. I mean, there's examples of wasted money from the government in recent times, whether it's buying airport land or whether it's money for the subs deal with the French, which many people believe is too much. So surely, regardless of whatever it costs, it's got to be done to fix the aged care system.
Well, I don't necessarily accept your characterisations there. Building a second airport for Sydney is important. Defending our nation's important.
Yeah, it was overpaid, but we're getting off the market.
Looking after our older Australians is important too. And it is a priority of the government. That's why we've established a Royal Commission. That's why we've made those down payments of about $1 billion in extra funding, separate to the COVID funding that's been provided. And of course, there will be more. We'll just work through now the ways to respond to this report and make sure our older Australians are looked after.
Okay, just finally, Labor is officially on board for gas. Are you surprised by that?
There's a lot of talk I see in their draft platform. But talk is cheap. Action is what matters. And if the Labor Party truly supported gas as a transition fuel and their way to get to this mythical net zero emissions target they've described, they'd be backing the reforms to the Clean Energy Finance Corporation that are in the Parliament right now. Those reforms allow the CFC to invest in gas projects to back up renewables. But the Labor Party are holding out support. Now, I know the likes of Joel Fitzgibbon think they should be supporting it, but he doesn't have any sway at the moment. He's a lone voice in the wilderness. And so I don't believe at all we've seen the Labor Party come on board here. with backing the type of energy we need to become independent as a nation, to bring back manufacturing jobs and make sure we keep power prices low for Australians.